Did he explain why he called you second tier?
Well, I think that the president, a number of people who are opposed to banning stock trading had said to the president that he would be covered by the bill. He'd have to sell Mar-a-Lago and sell assets. Not the case at all. The president and the vice president, all their assets are totally exempted. And here's the point. This is what we talked about. The point of this bill is to ban members of Congress from trading on the information that only they have. I've supported this bill for years, Jesse. I think we call it the Pelosi Act. It is named for her because she is the poster child of this kind of behavior. It ought to be illegal and it ought to be prosecutable.
Hey, what's up, everyone? If you thought things were already messy in MAGA world, well, buckle up. Because this week, Donald Trump just got publicly dragged by Republican senators on his own team, and not just the usual suspects. We're talking about people who stood by him for years suddenly say, yeah, no thanks. So what's going on? Let's get into it. All right, so Trump's been lashing out like it's 2016 again, except this time the party isn't exactly clapping back with applause. Instead, it's more like awkward silence, or in some cases, outright criticism. The first hit came when Trump randomly took aim at Senator Josh Hawley. Yes, the guy who literally raised a fist in solidarity with Trump supporters on January 6th. Trump called him a second-tier senator. Why? Because Hawley supports a bipartisan bill banning members of Congress from trading stocks. That's it. Now, whatever you think of Hawley, and let's be real, he's not exactly a hero of democracy. He made a pretty solid point. He went on Fox and calmly explained that the bill wouldn't even apply to Trump because the president and vice president are exempt. He even said Trump supports a stock trading ban, but Trump still went after him. Maybe because the idea of financial transparency makes him break out in hives. Maybe because he thinks any regulation is an attack on him personally. Who knows? But here's where it gets wild. Trump isn't just mad at Hawley. He's also throwing a fit over Senator Chuck Grassley. Yes, 91-year-old Grassley, who's been in the Senate longer than most of us have been alive. Grassley's crime? Refusing to kill off a Senate tradition called the blue slip, which allows senators to weigh in on judicial nominees from their states. That's it.
It's a formality. Trump sees it as disloyalty. So what does he do? He jumps on Truth Social and starts ranting about Grassley, accusing him of blocking conservative judges. And suddenly the dam cracks. Because even Trump's loyalists in the Senate are like, okay, this is getting ridiculous.
Lisa Murkowski, John Kennedy, Tommy Tuberville, and Tom Tillis all spoke out, and not in vague, coded language. Murkowski called Trump's attacks unnecessary. Kennedy, who usually tries to play both sides, told Trump to back off, but it was Tillis who really said the quiet part out loud. Now remember, Tillis already said he's not running for re-election, so he's got nothing to lose. And he basically said Trump is surrounded by bad advisors and that going after Grassley, of all people, was a dumb move. He even said the blue slip policy actually helps the president. That's the twist. Trump's attacking someone over a process that gives him more leverage.
Make it make sense?
But here's what's really going on. This isn't about blue slips or stock trading. This is about power and fear. Trump is watching the walls close in, and instead of playing it smart, he's blowing up the people he needs most, Republican senators. And they're starting to notice. You can feel the shift. These aren't just policy disagreements. These are cracks in the MAGA armor. Senators who stayed quiet for years are now distancing themselves, subtly or not so subtly, signaling that maybe, just maybe, they're not riding this train all the way to the end. And honestly, it's not just about Trump being mean on social media. It's about what's looming in the background. The Epstein files, ongoing investigations, the legal messes piling up. Senators like Tillis and Grassley are making moves now so they can say later, hey, I pushed back when it mattered. I wasn't totally on board. They're hedging. They're covering their backs because they know full well. If the Epstein connection sticks, if new revelations come out, if criminal charges escalate, it's going to be every man for himself. And Trump knows that too. That's why he lashes out. He wants absolute loyalty, not just support, asterisk, asterisk, loyalty, asterisk, asterisk. But the higher the stakes get, the fewer people are willing to give it. And that's the real story here. Not just that a few senators are fed up, but that Trump's grip is slipping, and even the people who once feared him are quietly stepping away. Look, We've said it before, but it's more true now than ever. Trump doesn't play well with others. He doesn't take criticism, he doesn't do nuance, and he definitely doesn't do strategy. He just reacts. And when those reactions start alienating the only people who still have power to protect him, that's not just bad politics. That's dangerous for him. So where does it all go from here? That depends. If more Republicans follow Tillis lead and start calling out Trump's behavior, we could see a real shift in the party's direction. But if they stay silent, if they let the fear take over again, then we're just in for more chaos. But one thing's for sure, the walls aren't just closing in from the outside. They're crumbling from within. Thanks for watching. If you're just as tired of Trump's tantrums as the people who used to defend him, smash that like button, share this video with someone who needs to see it, and hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Because trust me, there's more. Always more. Catch you in the next one.